Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again. And we have on this episode, we have Marlene, and she is a producer, filmmaker, dancer, poet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to also allow you to introduce yourself to our audience, just what you've been doing so far and
Sure.
what you're planning to do and so on and so forth. And then we'll go from there.
Sounds great. So I'm Marlene Rhein, and yes, I'm a filmmaker, writer, director, actress. I just released a book of poetry called How to Find God on the Dance Floor, which is on Amazon. A huge love of dancing. I kind of grew up in the clubs of New York in the 80s and 90s, old school hip hop and house, and that informs a lot of my work. But I also am super into dark comedy, and I'm getting ready to shoot my second feature film called Who is Joy Sriracha, planning on shooting in January. And it's a dark comedy, but it's about the collapse of mental health in our society around the current events that bombard us constantly on our phone. It's just being a sensitive person in this world, hearing the suffering and seeing the suffering of others is overwhelming. And it's like, how do you function? Like, for me, I wrote this film to answer the question, do you have a right to be happy when so many people are suffering around you? Like, is there hope, So I wrote this film to find the answer to the question and to make people laugh, because laughter is always like therapy for me. I used to do little stand-up comedy in New York because, when you're depressed and you're battling depression, anxiety, humor is it's
coping mechanism
and fuel. It's like everything. As an artist, it's dancer, whatever. Like you could take all the shit that happens to you and use it for something, and that's the joy of being an artist. Like no matter what happens and how dark things get, it's fuel for something. So, Who is Joy Sriracha? We're fundraising, trying to raise at least $60,000, shoot in January. It's about a sensitive woman who's so traumatized by current events that she splits into 3 personalities, and only to be made the subject of a documentary by her new boyfriend, who's an opportunist. And I play the character. I do that a lot. I direct and star in. And so I'm getting ready, trying to gain momentum for that. That's what I'm working on.
A lot of independent films coming out this nowadays, more and more. Is it because of the industry itself, or is it because just people find an outlet that they can produce more?
I think it's both. I think on the one hand there have been. It's also easier to make. And with the advent of like YouTube and streamers and do it yourself, this and that, like people from everywhere around the world who realize they don't have to be in Hollywood are making their own films. But also there's a collapse of the studio system, where it's just impossible unless you're making like a Marvel remake or whatever. Everything's about like, no one's taking a risk. It's not like the 70s when you had these film as art, like people would go see a film like Rocky or An Officer and a Gentleman, and they talk about it, and now it's all money, and if there's risk, there's no guaranteed profit, they're not making it. So a lot of that has collapsed, and I think independents are providing content, so it's a little bit of both, I think.
Yeah, because its creativeness, I think, has disappeared from Hollywood, because there's like remakes of remakes, and how many remakes can you watch? They have The Naked Gun now again. Okay, it's funny, but it's been remade how many times, right? Or so many other films as well. And I think it's unfortunate in a way, because there's so many talent out there that we see. And unfortunately, I think the strike that happened kind of took that off the ledge, where it's like, there is no balance anymore in Hollywood. What do you think that hurted the actors?
Of course. I mean, you had COVID, which number one hurt everyone, and then you had the 2 strikes, which just dug the nail into the coffin. And I think since then, everyone's struggling. People are struggling for work. People are moving. People can't pay their rent. It's all this huge collapse. But, what's the Chinese symbol for crisis is the same as opportunity, and you can... it's like you have to look at the bright side. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Like collapse and despair? Lord knows I've fallen down that road, but it's like, what's the opportunity here?
Yeah, I feel like streaming has also taken a huge toll as well, because a lot of times when I see a show or a film that I really enjoy, it's a very small audience and they don't have a big audience, so it's not marketed correctly. And also with streaming, there's so many streaming services that it's like a film can get lost in one and you don't like end up seeing or hearing about it again. So I feel like that has taken a toll on creativity, is the streaming services and which one do you want your film to get on and all this stuff. So
yeah, that's true. There have been some like really amazing shows that I've seen that never got canceled after 1 or 2 seasons, and they were so good. And I think it's just lack of marketing, and it sucks because people just don't know about it.
Yeah.
You know,
and a lot of the superstars, they're making quick movies.
Yes.
You know, just Netflix. You know, okay, you know what? One movie after another. You know, just they're getting quick 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, and they're just calling it a day. Where before it was just that one blockbuster
that everyone would talk about and want to get the DVD or whatever for, and sound like vintage or anything. But that's like that was fun. Like as a kid, like seeing a movie like Finding Nemo or something, and then like your cousins get it and you all watch it, and like that sense of community I feel like is lost now.
It sucks. It used to be an event, a thing you would talk about. Like, did you see that movie? People would talk about it everywhere, and it brought people together. It was a discussion. Have you seen that, or have you heard that new song? And nowadays it's so like
it's
garbage.
all like segregated, like there's different
it's too easily accessible and the value loses it because before, you know, we used to go to Blockbuster, we used to rush, because if you went, they had like 2 3, especially if it's a new release. You know, you went and it was like, oh man, you know, now you had to choose another one. You know, so kind of it forced you to watch other movies that you might have not watched because of that one movie you went for. Nowadays, it's like there is sometimes, you know, I look at Netflix and I can't find anything to watch.
Oh my God, right? That's the crazy thing. It's like there's so much content, but how come when I'm looking for something to watch, there's hardly anything smart or intelligent or funny or relatable that, like, how is that?
and good.
Yeah,
That content is not, it doesn't exist anymore. At least for me, of course, you find those films that you enjoy and that you love. But I feel like nowadays it's like short content, like it's the substance isn't there. It's the same plot over and over again, and it's just not sustainable.
However, what's interesting is there is still an appetite for good indie films. Like there was that film called, I think it was Thelma, about June Squibb was in it, and there was an article about it. Like on the plane, people were opting to pick a movie, and instead of picking the big blockbuster, everyone on the plane chose to watch that.
Yes.
And it's showing, like, if it's there and it's in front of them, people, there's a voracious appetite for good content. So what's the answer then? We can't just like say, you know, it's so hard. I mean, it sucks that as a filmmaker, you have to work so hard to market, and you have to build your audience before you even shoot. Like, I hate that so much, but we have to have a revolution in creating good content and bringing people to see it, so that it shows that there's an audience for it and they'll make more of it. It's just very difficult to actually make it and get people to see it, but we have to fight somehow.
The people that are getting noticed online are the ones that are doing ridiculous things, stupid things, because algorithm somehow picks up the dumbest things that there is. And the people that are actually giving value to people are getting lost because nobody's watching them. Either they're not interested because of the society, the way the society is, or it's just like people just want to watch something that is irrelevant or something that kind of cuts them off, you know.
Maybe.
Just like you said, like mental health issues and so on. People are just wanting to, I think, let go of everything, you know, and the kind of stupid thing kind of gets them away from that. You know,
it's
where
like
they don't
lowest
have to
common denominator stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you bring audiences to the good stuff? What do you think?
I honestly, you know, we always talk about like social media outreach and all this stuff, but like in this world and like the generations like they're coming now and like before us, TikTok is definitely a huge like utilizer of that, because that's what everyone's like on. Like you hear someone say, oh, does he use TikTok, does he use Instagram, of this and that. So I feel like that is not, unfortunately, but like we have a kind of like a duty as like Gen Z or whatever to kind of push that, because like TikTok and Instagram is used by everyone. So it's like we have no choice but to promote it on there at the same time. So So what would be your
Who's
way
good?
sort of like if you had yourself to market your own film, how would you sort of do that?
That's a really good question. I spoken to some like I even did this class on like audience building, and the guy said, and then this other producer I ran into recently said, to do these videos where you peel back the curtain on your process and show them how you're struggling to get the movie made, because people want to see authenticity. And so I thought, well, that at least I can be authentic doing that, you know, because I don't feel like doing stuff that's not really me, because it is a struggle. So maybe if I can be real and say, yeah, this is what I'm doing, but make them laugh, that's the only way I know how to do it authentically, I guess, and to make these little videos. But at the same time, look for money to make it, so I have money for marketing and like make. Ideally, like if I had the money, I would do big billboards, but I don't. So that's the thing. Like, what can you do without the resources? The only thing I could do is make these TikTok and Instagram videos. I don't know how else, and I rack my brains every day. And sometimes I buy lottery tickets, even though that's ridiculous, because I don't know what to do to make the movie and equally important, get the word out to people. I think the audience is out there. How do you to get through all the noise, you either need money or you need videos. And maybe if I make these authentic videos about my journey, it's like little engagement. They've gotten more engagement than my other stuff. So people are reacting more, like, especially on Facebook, maybe because I have a big friend audience. I don't know. But I think if I'm consistent and do it every, let's say 3 days, over time, it will build. And I think that's how people do it. Like they don't just overnight get all these followers. It's like doing what's authentic to you, that expresses your voice and who you are, and the uniqueness of who you are over time builds the audience, I think.
Yeah.
That's my plan for now.
When you said you're doing comedy and stuff, do you find it more difficult to do comedy in today's world?
I have a very, I have a very dry sense of humor, so I'll deliver things very dryly without even looking like it's comedy, but that's my brand, so to speak.
Because some people don't get comedy nowadays, where...
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a fine line between a joke that's offensive or a joke that's meant to be fun. Like, there's always these different lines that there's rules now to like content, which I think is interesting when you think about it.
Yes. And also, like, there are different audiences, and a lot of people will not get me and don't engage with my stuff, and that's fine, because there are people that do, and
you're not going to get everybody.
That's true for everyone that's out there. Like, come on, you've gone and you've seen like an amazing movie that you knew was so good, and then someone else is like, I didn't get it,
and it really hurts my soul,
and you're like,
what?
I mean, that's how people are. We're living in a buffet. Like there's a buffet of all these different kinds of food, and some people like this, and you don't understand.
Everything's niche nowadays.
But you had, like, I was really down the other day, 'cause, like, I'm not doing what I love and I want to, and it's killing me, and I don't really like living in LA. It's very isolating. I'm from New York, and I'm used to, like, you go out dancing, and then you go and you meet these people, and then you go to this after hours, or then you meet up with your people, and you're connected to life, and I don't feel connected to life, and it's depressing. But anyway, so I was really down, and my acting coach in New York is amazing, and he said, you don't have to do it for the majority. Do it for the 1% of the population who's your people. Do it for them. Because if you think about it, 1% of whatever billion is still like a few million, right? So you find your audience, and the people that don't like you, fuck them.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's interesting that you mentioned the different cultures between East Coast and LA, because being from the Midwest and like Chicago, it's definitely similar to New York City, I feel like, in terms of clubs and communities and like all those ways you can like hang out with your friends. And I feel like LA is definitely kind of a different, you have to like find it. Because I feel like there are times where I feel the same way, right? Because there is, it's very expensive here, and there's, not much to do. I feel like the spontaneity of those cities are more like there than it is here.
Totally.
For sure.
I've like the people that I've met from East Coast, like what they complain about the most here is the connection to it that they have with people.
Yes.
The friendships that they cannot make, that they made in New York or in the East Coast. There's somebody I was talking to and said, you know what? In East Coast, when you make friends, you're with friends like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You know who they are.
Yeah.
But in LA, goes nobody, and you don't know who that person is. They're just too fake. They're welcoming, but the thing is, are they real? You know, the question, you know, if somebody smiles at you all the time, but you don't know if it's like, you know, is it a face or is it real? Is it really because, you know, or is just like pretending that, oh, you know, I have to be nice to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that connection, I think, to friendship. Unfortunately, it has, you know, it's changing and things like that. Hopefully it changes for the better, you know? And I think a lot of people feel that when they come from East Coast. I don't know, it's because they are closer in vicinity to each other, you know, when you have to be that way kind of because you meet people in that sense. LA is a little bit more spread out, so you kind of,
it's a
everybody
huge
has their own
state, yeah.
space, you know.
Maybe, yeah.
You know?
There's a definite like rawness and realness, at
Yeah.
least in New York, probably in Chicago too. But I feel like with my friends in New York, we're very silly. Like I'm
Yeah.
always like making jokes,
Yeah.
laughing about silly things and cracking up until the late hours, you know, and we're real with each other.
Yeah.
It's very, and I don't have that here. And there are people that are nice, you know, but
I would love to ask, like, what was
You gotta
your...
be on the edge, right?
Yeah.
we're just feels a little boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the craziness that I
Yeah.
love? It's
Yeah.
not here. you know?
What made you decide to... first of all, when did you move here? And, like, what was your, like, sort of process to do that?
So I moved here first right after college.
Okay.
1992. I had $40
wow,
in my
okay.
pocket. I had no money. I had no connections here, but I knew like I studied film in school and I was like, no, like I might have had like low self-esteem, but I knew I had talent to make creativity and I loved music. I was like, I'm going to direct music videos.
Yeah.
So I came out here. I stayed at the Y in Westwood where I was paying like $40 a week. It was crazy. And I just used my credit cards to start shooting videos for unsigned rappers. And I would choreograph them and a few years went by and finally, like before you know it, it was 1996 and I had done like one or two small hip hop videos and this woman who was representing me said, come with me, we're gonna have a meeting with Tupacs people in Malibu. I didn't know what she meant, but I went to the colonies in Malibu and there was Tupac and it turns out I was gonna be directing his next video in like a week. It was insane. The budget was $300,000. This was May of 96 and I was just at this table with all these dudes and I had just thrown into it, you know?
Yeah.
And I directed what was to be his last video. I lost so much weight that
insane.
week because I was so nervous, you know? But I got along really well with him.
Yeah.
Really great connection.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I had like, my friend Alicia did my braids. I was, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a 3-day shoot. We shot on 35 millimeter. And then I directed music videos.
Yeah.
But I started from nothing with no connections, credit cards. I just believed in myself. And I love music so much that it gave me images, music videos. It was like a blend of poetry and music and dancing and visuals. It was right up my alley. And then I hated LA. I hated, you know, just so much about this country felt stale. So I went to London, not knowing anyone, just wanting to be in Europe, and found that it just was, they respect art so much more and music there. And you could be more cerebral, and the more cool and unique and smart your ideas are, the more they love it. So I became much more successful over there. Was directing, going back and forth. I worked with Amy Winehouse and hundreds of. I became one of the top 10 like R&B hip hop video directors there.
Yeah.
But then this was the time when boy bands were starting to like.
Yes.
And I hated that. Like I can't be fake with music. Like I don't want to create from music that's bullshit and pop. I hate pop music so much.
Oh my.
I hate
love
it.
pop music.
Sorry.
Oh,
but
wow.
I love like soul. I come from like Nas, EPMD,
No, but
Eric
R&B
B. and
is
Rakim,
rooted in every, like that's
it's
the
changed a
roots.
lot.
Yeah, it has.
But I started to just get like, and then, you know, with music video directing, they would send you a track and you would have to spend your own time, no money, coming up for 3 days with this like big idea with pictures, and they're having 12 other directors do it. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to spend my time, I want to make movies. I want to tell stories that matter. It's not what I'm here for, this bullshit pop boy band stuff. Like, that's not me. It's not what I came for. I came for stories to affect lives. You know, that was my big
ambition.
idealistic, you know.
Yeah.
So I stopped so I could make independent movies. And I had no idea. Like, I thought it'd be easy, the way it was easy for me to just become a music video director. I got success. I thought, oh, that's how it works. I had no idea how hard it would be. I had meetings at the different studios, but no one would give me a movie because I wasn't already like famous.
Yes.
So I started waitressing just to support myself and somehow still believing, no, I can make these movies. And I've been on this path ever since. It's been a struggle. But I've gotten to I made a feature film about salsa dancing, small distribution. I've made a bunch of award-winning web series like My Parents Are Crazier Than Yours, The So You Don't Know, which won a lot of awards and just got picked up by Tubi, actually. So it's going to be on Tubi soon. And I've been doing independent stuff, and still, some voiceovers.
Sometimes you're just one project away from that next big one.
You think so?
I think
I need some encouragement.
That's what happens. It's like, what there's a saying that says, you're one person away from your potential,
Yes.
where somebody takes you to the next level.
Yes.
And I think it just takes, people see success of people and they're like, oh my God, he's so lucky, right? But they don't see the struggles. Let's say, for example, if you made it and let's say you started producing bigger names, the same people that were with you, they'll be like, oh my gosh, she got lucky. But they don't realize that you've been putting 20 years to your craft and practicing it, doing things, every little step, sometimes it's just, I think not everything comes easy unless, let's say, if you are well connected in the industry and somebody hands you things,
right?
Which a lot of times it happens, sometimes you see there's no talent and you're like,
it's just the money
how
that
the hell
they,
this person really got this role, and then of course you see that there's mothers of mothers, son, father of this, this is this, and the connections.
The nepo babies, yes.
Yeah. But I think it takes time, and I think especially with something that's creative or not artistic, artists and even artists, right? Sometimes they're not famous until they're gone.
Yeah, like Van Gogh.
That's the worst part of those.
Yeah.
Right?
My therapist always brings up Van Gogh. I'm like, please stop. I don't care.
Funny.
Like if I'm dead, I don't care at that point.
No, yeah,
I want it
that's
now.
not what I want to be famous,
I want it now.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I feel like especially with like artists nowadays, like musicians or dancers or filmmakers or whatever it is, like even if they're not like David Lynch famous or these bigger names that you see on like Sydney Sweeney or whoever it is, like there's still that 1% of audience that would love to see a movie just because that person's in it, and you don't really all of the time know 100% like this person's going to make it like big, like a big name like Britney Spears for example, like those names that are like huge, but at the same time there's that one small artist that what person will continue to see and support. So I feel like that's kind of like your situation where, like you're one project away from like having an even small audience that you already built. And like your support system. So like from these projects that you've worked on, have you kept in touch with any of the crew that you've worked with? Or
a little bit. But I'm finding like a bunch of really great new crew, like the DP that I met for this project is fantastic and he has great energy. I've kept in touch with some people from the past, but not too many, to be honest. But I do think you've given me some great encouragement by saying that. So thank you. That was like the best thing that happened to me today. Because I feel like the whole thing is you have to keep going. And also, they say compare and despair, and you look out there and you think about these other people who are succeeding, who started way after you or aren't even that talented, and it feels like a dagger, and you can't, like, it's like a fight. You have to be almost like a warrior in your mind of focusing on the thing you love and the fact that you get to do it and not the outcome. But it's hard, isn't it? Because you keep thinking, I want to be known already. But partly
I put my time. Especially when you're getting older. You look at it, you're like, you know what? I want it. Because you don't want it at 75. Like we were talking last time, we said, you know what, if you're a dancer, you don't want to be you don't want to be dancing when you're 75. You want to make it now. You want to be touring with people you want to do now, right? So but it just, everybody I think has its own timing is everything. And then you can't really force something. That's why you have to be as genuine as possible. Because people respect genuine people.
Authenticity is important.
Because, you can only fake it so much. We used to have it in the business sector. In the past, we used to say, fake it until you make it. But sometimes you fake it so much, you lose yourself in it. Now you're like 10 years down the road, you faked so much. You don't even know who you are. You get, that's why a lot of, I think, people, when they get wealth, and they lose themselves, is because they don't know who they are, because they've been faking such a long time. They've lost most of their like, you know, reality, most of who they were, that originally people got attracted.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
got to
so.
be a hard place to be in if you think about it.
Yeah.
They got famous off of something that wasn't them. Like, that's got to feel really bad,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that's why a lot of celebrities, they're, you know, when you see them doing drugs, you know, Matt Perry, right?
Yes, Matthew Perry.
You know,
yeah.
Matthew Perry. I mean, he had a saying. I was watching one of his interviews. He said, "You know what? When I became famous, and I bought the house that I dreamed of, and then I walked in, I was more alone that time than any time in my life." But he goes, "I achieved everything." You know, but he had emptiness because he didn't know who he was, and
Yeah.
he
So
didn't know who people were.
What
so.
if the real win, the real success was being authentically 1000% who you are and doing what you love? What if that's the real success?
Yes.
Wouldn't
Yes.
that be a game changer? Like,
It would be.
the mental reframing.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh shit, I got it going on. Like, I'm doing what I love. What's the problem?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not because then you're not focusing on what you don't have. You're not focusing on how
Yep.
little is in your bank account.
Yes.
Or, you know,
People usually focus on mostly what they don't want, you know,
Yeah.
instead of focusing on what they have going in their life. Because, you know, let's say, for example, I cannot do what you do, you know, and what you achieve, I will never probably achieve because I will not be able to be as creative as you are. You know, just being creative in itself is something that 95% of people in this world don't have the ability to do. You know, obviously that's why we don't have a lot of, you know, there's actors, there's actresses, there's directors, but, you know, not everybody is doing it because I can't do it. You know, I do a lot of arts. Those are my artworks, by the way. But like I did a lot of arts, but as far as I lacked the creative side of it, you know, I had a block, right? And then there's some people that were maybe less talented, but they were more creative. And they go further down. It doesn't matter, you know. So,
Yeah.
But what you achieve is, I think a lot of people lose themselves from what they've achieved, and they focus on what they don't have and what they want to achieve so much that they hinder what they're doing today.
Yeah.
you
yeah.
know?
This has been an incredible therapy session. Do you take Medi-Cal?
It's so funny.
I know I should sometimes charge. You
No,
know. But you know,
literally.
that's how we have to look at it. You know, because everybody goes through life.
Yeah.
And everybody, you know, especially with a lot of noise that we have.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I can suggest this guru which I listen to a lot. You know, is an Indian guy, Sadhguru. You know, he's an amazing. He does amazing stuff, and you know, he says, you know, we live in one of the safest times in the world history. You know, and people were like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yes. Do you guys imagine 1,000 years ago you could have been murdered, just being murdered, just killed because, you know, people just, you know, walking on the street could have just killed you and nobody will know who you were. You will never existed, you know." But he goes, in this today's age, the reason why we don't feel safe is because we see too much, we hear too much, because he goes, if there is something going on in the different parts of the world, we hear about it and we feel it. Where if it was not there, we wouldn't even not known, right? So he goes, by knowing too much, he goes, you have to shut yourself off for you to be happy, because you cannot change anything. Things are going to go, as long as humans are alive, there is going to be tragedy, you know, and we cannot remove that humanity out of humans, because then we become robots, right? So if we become robots, maybe we can live in harmony, but then we're not human.
That's a huge point, because part of me feels like, how can you be an empathetic person and hear about, let's say, a shooting and not feel so awful inside? Like, I literally die inside every time, because you know it could have been prevented, you know.
Exactly.
And, and I get mad, and I want to shut it off. I know, like, I have to save my mental health by shutting it off, but you feel like that's not right somehow. Like, it's not right to shut it off, like, to not be aware, like, because you feel like I should do something. But it's overwhelming how much you should do about so many issues. You can't, right?
Yeah.
How do you function? Is it okay to shut this off?
Yeah. I was literally just talking about this with one of my friends today about it, and it's interesting because I feel like we're all such in a bubble, and I feel like we all forget sometimes that there's certain things happening in other places of the world or even like in the US, but I feel like a good medium is creativity and being an art, like an artist.
Yeah.
Because for someone like me who dances and who like creates any medium I can, and having that community with my friends, that is the healing that we can do as like people, is to be respectful and kind to one another and supportive. So I feel like that is definitely a way that we can cope with that, is like having community be there for us. And like the projects as well that you're doing, that you want to do, can be like a medium to go through that as well.
Because I guess you can't shield yourself 100.
Yeah.
You can't,
No.
you know?
Do you think Hollywood plays a role in that?
I actually do. I
agree.
I sometimes I feel like I'm one of the few people that believes this, but they promote this fucking cool good guy with guns thing. Like
Yes.
guns, glorified guns.
Yes.
It's not cool because they're promoting this sense that violence is cool, and then you have these gang members who are cool. You know, like yes, and violent video games, like all that shit. Like you're just putting it into the field of consciousness.
Society.
Yeah. I also feel like mental illness is a huge thing to play a part of it, because I feel like a lot of people like to make excuses for those who do acts like that as mental illness. And I feel like, you know, the guns are definitely, you know, a huge issue, but also it's because the person has not been taken care of mentally, like doctor, psychiatrist, whatever it may be. That's also something that I feel like people overlook, is getting help at seeing signs of that.
You know what I was reading, and this is just off topic, but when you said mental illness, they said that a lot of the people that are doing the shootings and all those things, there's one correlation to what could be the cause, and it says medication.
Yes.
A lot of them are antidepressants.
Yes.
And a lot of them, and you know, if you look at medications, if you look at on, the other day I was looking at one of the commercials for medications, and I was like, wow, the side effects
Yes.
are worse than fixing
Which
the
is
problem.
why sometimes people don't take them because of that reason.
Because like side effects like can kill you worse than the.
They
I'm
can
like,
make,
you know what? You have.
It make you feel worse than that you already feel. So it's like,
We unfortunately
medical
live
system.
in a society where healthcare and mental health care is not the priority. Profit is.
Yes.
And if it doesn't profit, the pharmaceuticals, you know, it's humans are not first. Taking care of each other is not
Yes.
first. It's almost like a Wild West. Everyone for themselves. Money.
Wild
How can
West,
we
yeah.
make money? That's
Yeah.
the priority of this country.
But sometimes we have to have bad stuff in order for us to know what's good, because those two they cannot exist without each other. You know, you have to have a complementary. You know, let's say there's sickness, there's health. If you're, you know, they say, you know what, if you're sick, you have only one worry,
One, yeah,
right? And if you're healthy, you have thousands of worries,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
yeah.
So, and that's the whole thing also as well. But I think what makes this country good is, even though it's a bad stuff happening, but it's also, I think, you know, when I came from a country that was a communist country.
so did my parents.
And we ran from it
Yeah.
because there's no opportunity
Yeah.
for kids. They're
Yeah.
growing up, right? So you had to bribe people to do things, you know. If you wanted to, I always give this example to people because they don't, you know, when I came, I was like 10 years old. And when we were in Russia and coming to, and then we had to fly to Italy, and then from Italy we came to United States, they didn't allow me to take coins with me. I had like maybe 30 cents, like, right, 3-4 coins. They didn't allow me. I was like crying and stuff. I'm like, this is mine. And then it says, no, this is not yours. This is the country's. You cannot take.
That's like a perfect
Yeah,
representation.
because you
of
did
what-
not own anything. The country owned everything. Even the coins, my parents' jewelry, their rings, their wedding bands, anything that they had, they couldn't bring it.
Yeah.
You know, of course, after 91, everything fell in. So what we had there, we brought it in. But, you know, and let's say, for example, simple bread. If you were late in the morning, there was no bread. So if you did not, your mom didn't wake up, you know, my dad used to go to work, and then my mom used to go off like 6:30 in the morning, every morning, to get the bread, you know, because there was limited amount of stuff, you know. And unfortunately, we have so much of it here, we don't take...
we don't appreciate
we take it for granted.
Yes, we do.
You know, that's why so many people, you know, I always tell people, I said, listen, there's so many, that's the reason why everybody wants to come here. Nobody is running to go away from here. you know, we have to force people to go, you know?
Yeah.
So it is one of the greatest things that we have here. Unfortunately, of course, there's going to be bad stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you make a good movie, ends up being you know, you can have the good intentions, and then some people will take that and then twist it into a different thing.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who critique and all this stuff, but I definitely want to hear more about how it was directing Tupac and Amy Winehouse's videos for sure. Like choreography and all that stuff. I really want to hear you go into.
By the way, the budget itself.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine
that?
the budget today if he was here?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh,
several million. But yeah. Which it's weird though now because like videos, you know, they're shown on YouTube mostly.
Yes.
It's a whole different thing. But he was cool, you know, like at first I was certainly intimidated, but he was just a real person like anyone else. Hung out with them in his trailer. He was trying to get me to smoke weed with him. I was like, no, I'd like to.
Oh, I would have said yes to that, Marlene.
I would have if I wasn't such a lightweight. I wouldn't have been able to direct anything.
That is so funny. Oh, that's true. Imagine if you were directing High with Tupac.
I would have been like,
I would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was cool. He had his boys around him, and there's actually a lot of found footage that surfaced like over the last few years that I've been sent of me behind the scenes directing him. It's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool. Like I'm talking to him, giving him directions, and he's nodding. It's like, oh my God, that was me. You know, that's crazy. I was 26 years old. You know what I mean? I was so young. And Amy was, when I met her, this is before she really blew up over here.
Now you can go around saying that. I directed Amy Winehouse video before she blew up.
Yeah.
This is in London when you
in
were
London,
London.
in East London, Brick Lane. It was a video called "Fuck Me Pumps," where I had her taking this microphone with the long cord all through the streets, like, and she was like basically a narrator.
Yeah,
it was very funny. It was very funny. And she was kind of like a tomboy, and she did her own makeup. She wasn't having, you know, and then she wouldn't let me film from her left side. It had to only be the right side because she didn't like her profile.
Oh wow.
She was very, you know, determined, like this is how, you know, but she was very cool. You could see she was like insecure about this guy she really liked at the time. Like she had issues with the whole like man thing that obviously stemmed from her dad.
Yeah.
It was kind of obvious, like before even knowing her story, but basically she was cool, and she showed up to the edit by herself. Like there was no label, no management. It was just her showing up, and she's like, yeah, that's cool. I love it. Yeah, I love it. And it was like just like a cool sort of tough chick. You know what I mean?
But I definitely could see her being that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like from North London, very raw, very, I'll tell it like it is, you know? And so I got along with that because I'm from New York. It's like real.
Yeah.
So, and they were both just like super cool, real people underneath all the, you know, the hype or
the
whatever.
Glamour and all that stuff.
Yeah. I feel like Tupac was really like an artist, like a smart artist, but because of whatever reason, he surrounded himself with the West Coast gang shit, you know, like he then had to kind of mask that a bit.
Yeah.
He couldn't be the poet. He couldn't be the intellectual, you know.
Maybe it's the downfall of his, because of the association.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, I never met Suge Knight, but he was supposed to show up on the set, but he didn't. But apparently Suge didn't want that video released because Tupac wanted a video. He wanted a female director because he was getting flack for being misogynistic. So he thought,
yes,
I'll get a female director.
I remember. I've heard about that. Yes, yeah.
So that's why I was brought in, you know.
That's so cool.
But then, and he wanted a certain thing. So it's creatively, it's my least favorite video I've ever done because I didn't come up with the concept. The only thing I came up was him on the toilet, like looking at the chicks. Like that was my cool creative whatever. But everything else is his idea. And with the bigger artists, that happens a lot. They have an idea. You're just there to execute.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
right.
You know,
you're just executing their vision.
Exactly.
And there's always different directors brought in for different things.
Yeah.
So
boring for me. You know.
Yeah.
Because for me, I love the innovation.
Yeah.
So creatively, it's my least favorite video I've done. However, it was the biggest artist.
What's your background in dance specifically? Like, what are some of your favorite styles and like what performances have you done? Like, what's your genre that you were?
So my mom grew up in Colombia, South America. So I always joke that I'm Colombian because I spent a lot of time down there. And so she was always dancing around that. She'd play her records like salsa, kumba, merengue. And I was always, I'd dance around the house. And I got this like rhythm thing. And my brother too. My brother became like a salsa dancer. But this was, you know, in the 70s, disco was coming out in the early age of hip hop, and I really had this hunger for the beat and early house music, and anything with soul was like my thing. Like I was dancing to Michael Jackson at age 4, like since I was 4 years old. We were literally
just talking about Michael Jackson in the last episode. Yeah.
I felt that, like Stevie Wonder, everything, like I felt it in my stomach, like the bass, like it was me. And I knew, like, since I was a kid, all I wanted was to be a dancer.
Yes.
All I want, because I live for music. I would like lie to my parents and tell them I was going to a math meet and like, and do whatever I had to do to get to the club.
Yeah.
I had a fake ID just so I could dance.
That's so New York.
I didn't care about drugs. I didn't care about alcohol. I wasn't there for that. I was there. The music was my date.
Yes.
And since I was a kid, I lived for music and dancing to it. And so, but my father he didn't want to pay for any classes, so I could never take dance classes. So I danced in the clubs. That was my thing. So I became this person who loved to freestyle.
Yeah.
And when I did eventually, I moved to LA, the first time I was taking dance classes with Oliver Crooms, who was one of Madonna's backup dancers. He was voguing and all this shit. And it was a great time to be alive, the 80s and 90s, the music. And I was taking dance classes.
I really wish I lived that time. Like, I'm so jealous of my parents. Seriously.
Iconic.
Yeah.
But I was never good at retaining choreo. I could have if I applied myself, but I just wanted to be in the clubs.
Yeah.
I love freestyling.
Yeah.
And then I started to like choreograph my own music videos, like in London. I loved it. I just loved it. But anyway, I did a few dance performances in New York with like troops and carnivals, ball, blah, blah. I did that. And then I kind of just focused a little more on the film stuff. And I love dancing more, to be honest. It's more raw, it's more real, it's more, my soul feels like I'm a dancer and then I'm a filmmaker. But I wanted to be a success. And I thought, well, dancing's dancing, but I need to make movies happen so I could be successful. And so I kind of just let my focus go there, and dancing I would just do here and there in the clubs.
LA scene, I think club scene has changed a lot since we've been, I haven't been going to LA clubs like 20 years or so. But it used to be a lot better, I think, in my opinion, because nowadays I think not only in LA, LA is still, you have that culture of clubs, bars and stuff, but they're becoming more of lounges. People are not dancing as much. People are just there just to take photos. Oh, look, I got into this club. I got into...
People live through their phones. They'd rather show that they had an experience rather than have the experience.
Yeah, it's just like going to places, food places, they're taking pictures of the food. Yeah. And I hate that.
Yeah, I feel like the phone is definitely... Like social media, just like influencer culture is always... Let me take a picture of this instead of live in the moment. And for me, I feel like... I like to live in the moment more because I want to remember the experience. Yeah. So I'm very lucky to have friends who think the same and like don't want to record every 5 minutes of us dancing or whatever. Yeah. But there is dancing at clubs for sure. But I feel like the group of people that you go with who like to dance and like to do that will make the experience more enjoyable rather than someone who just wants to go there for the glamour and all that stuff.
I go to this place sometimes on Sundays called Utopia, and the guy who runs is from New York, but it's house music and it's modern.
Yes,
and
love
old
house
school.
Music. Yeah,
and it's people there wear sneakers, and you're there to dance, and the whole thing is unity, and and it's a very house unity, music definitely draws a more loving environment, whereas hip hop is more cold and like judgmental and blah blah blah. But
could you elaborate? What do you mean by cold, judgmental?
Like, I've gone to some clubs and people are just sitting there like on their phone or...
Oh, wow. Really?
Or like I started dancing because he was playing like Mary J. from the... I was like, oh my God.
I love
at the Dime on Fairfax Thursday night, and they're playing old school stuff, and I was loving it. But I was like the only one dancing.
Recently or was...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I came to find out later that the party really started much later. But it just feels like everyone's just like, no one's there to connect, or they're just cold looks. Just cold
that's
looks
interesting.
And phones. But whereas house music is more like... less judgmental. It's a little more spiritual.
Do you think because of substances up there, like the things that they use prior to coming in, or because when we were growing up and we were going to clubs, a lot of like when house music was coming, trance was coming, those early late 1999s, 1998s, and then when trance was starting to come in and techno and so on and so forth. A lot of those clubs were basically, a lot of people were using, ecstasy at that time. Ecstasy was one of the highest probably used drug there was in clubs, because that's why, when we went to, let's say, trance clubs, or, we went to, it was techno, or, anything like that, mostly was like after hours. Then it became a little bit more popular, and then it opened up to almost every club. And then hip hop at one time, I don't know if you remember, hip hop almost disappeared from clubs in LA. It was just like house, trance, there was nothing else. Every room, and then maybe one or two rooms, small sides, there used to be hip hop. And then again, hip hop just came back again. It was just a different phase. But do you think it's just that, or just basically it's just the people that are behind it?
It's just the people. The vibe. It's just different. Unless it's, a place where there are a lot of dancers and they're there for, then it's kind of different.
Yeah.
It depends. Did you go to any of the New York clubs back in the...
Yeah. I was New York in 2 times.
Oh, really?
And I mean, the clubs are almost as good as here, but a little bit different. And this is long time ago, so
I mean, it was amazing. People you would live for those nights. Like there was Club Shelter, which wouldn't even start until 2 a.m. and you'd get there and there'd be someone putting baby powder on the floor and like people with towels in their pockets and sweat. You're there to sweat and dance and like and encourage each other, and then you'd hop over to this place. You can never even like go to all of them. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Nowadays you're lucky.
And I feel like also it's so expensive. There's always a cover to go in and all this stuff. And I feel like a lot of the times it's like with the economy that we're in, it's cheaper to stay home. It's cheaper to go like to a club that has no cover and that's not as fun, or I'll just like grab a drink at a bar. But I feel like the money is another thing where it's like the drinks are a lot and it's just like paying for it is like no one wants to do. But once in a while, it's for me, I like to do that, just to with all the crazy schedule and stuff that like we have going on, can be a good like stress reliever for sure.
Yeah. I'm not going to give up on it. I feel like you got to find it. Just, I wish more people had the motivation to dance, like to go places to dance, to make it a thing and not, sometimes you go to these places and it's like empty. Like, where are the people?
Let's go back into films.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think in the last maybe, let's say this year, what is one movie that you think was worthy of like, we say, hey, this movie was so different, that is made by Hollywood, not an independent, because we're looking into Hollywood, right? What is that? Or like, can you find something that you can literally say this was amazingly done?
I go see a movie when I really want to go see it. Like if I see something like, or if I go to like a free screening with a friend, like recently The Long Walk just came out. That's a really good movie that just came out. It's a bunch of younger kids in the movie, but no, there definitely are some good films that are out here that my friends enjoy and that I enjoy. So The Long Walk, I'd probably say for me is a good one. So you can't think of the name?
I feel like my mind's just blank. I don't know why.
So what film have you seen that is not Hollywood that you enjoy?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I can't even remember. Like, just my mind's a blank right now.
I feel like TV shows are a huge thing now too. I'm a more TV person, like reality and like scripted. The Hunting Wives on Netflix is a really good show on right now. But I definitely love TV. I feel like TV is kind of taking over more than films are recently.
Series. I hate series because they waste so much time.
My mom says the same. She likes to watch TV, but not a lot because it can get you hooked and you don't want to wait for the next episode. But I love television.
A lot of actors are going into that area. Before they were like, if you were an actor, you're stuck to movies, right? And then if you're, you're doing episodes or you're doing series and stuff, then you were just stuck in that, and you didn't want to go to movies or you couldn't go. And I think they were boundaries maybe. Was there? Do you think there was some limitations? Like say some people from, let's say, TV to going into movies?
As an actress, I'd love to hear what you think.
I think like in the past, it just was more esteemed and regarded to do movies. It was higher. It was more respected. TV is like lower, but that's changed with
like tier 1, tier.
Yeah.
I see that because a lot of, You know, my mom used to watch. I think, I don't know if she still does. Days of Our Lives.
I was literally just thinking. My mom has been watching that show since she was 18.
Wow.
She loves it.
She still watches it.
She still watches it, and I'm
Really?
like,
Wow.
they're on season 30 or whatever, or whatever.
I think probably 160 seasons.
And same thing with, and this is when I get to like how much content is too much, because with Grey's Anatomy, like that show has been going on for so long and it's not even good anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like they just don't know when to stop, and I think, you know, obviously it can be a good opportunity for new actors to go on these shows, but it's like, it's crazy how long some of these shows have been going on for. I don't know how they do it.
I think people like pick up in different zones, because let's say if you like the actress or the actor, usually with me, if it's a series and if they change an actor, I'm done.
Yes, yeah,
You know?
that's also a huge deal
Even
breaker.
with the Blacklist, like season 8, they killed off the main character. I forgot her name.
Yeah.
But once she was off the thing, the dynamics kind of stopped.
Yes,
you know?
the whole show changes once that one character.
And then I
just
kind of
leaves.
lose interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that happens all the time. What do you suggest, for example, if somebody is wanting to come into the industry at a time that has so much challenges than before? Before there used to be challenges, you know, going into the market and so on and so forth. But today now there's there's multiple layers of challenges, right? What advice will you give to a younger self of you? You know, if you were like young, what would you do now, right? Yourself differently.
I would get work in the industry to build connections and community, because that's really very important, I think. I would do that, build connections, build community with people, work with people while writing stuff and doing stuff of your own on the side, and keep putting stuff out. You know, that's what I think I would say to my younger self.
Yeah.
What would you change?
I would have been more persistent. Like, I shot that first web series, My Parents Are Crazier Than Yours. It was really good and really funny, but because after 3 episodes, nothing happened with it, I thought, oh, it's not going to be a success. But if I had kept it going, if I persisted and not changed my attention like this, I would have gotten somewhere with it. I would have persisted more in my vision instead of thinking right away, oh, it didn't happen right away, so it's not going to happen. And then I abandoned that and went on to something else. And I think that was perhaps my downfall. I would have maybe stuck with directing videos a little more to get more money, save more money, build connections, instead of just like thinking I could just do it, you know. I might have done that differently, I think.
Would you ever direct another music video today?
Only for like a lot of money.
Okay, yeah. No, as you should.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I used to have such a love for it.
Okay.
I love the music, and I love it's poetry. Like when you can put visuals to music and cut the images against each other to say something beautiful. I really love that, but I feel like the way things have become, the way things are received, it's not the same. It's not as exciting. Unless it's a song or music or an artist that I really love. Something, if the song really stimulates.
What would be your dream artist to collab with in music video for today?
That's such a good question. I listen to music.
Yeah, like what do you listen to? Like what do you consume, like media wise? Like
I listen to like I was listening to this Terrence Trent D'Arby song, but he goes by a different name, and it's like this sort of R&B / house mix that I love, and I feel so much when I listen to it. But it's already been out a few years. And there's also like my memory's so bad I can't remember his name. I listen to like classical music when I'm home or I'm driving sometimes, or I listen to meditation music, or I listen to classic rock, or a lot of Led Zeppelin I love, or heavy metal. But I really am into like goth music, like from like Susie and the Banshees and Mission and the Sisters of Mercy and the Cult. Like I listen to a lot of that stuff. And there is some modern stuff that's good and innovative, although I feel like it's few and far between. But there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. I don't really feel like I have any artists nowadays that I'm
that you can pinpoint.
Yeah.
Well, even for Led Zeppelin, maybe you could direct one of their music video. I don't know if they still make music, but that's still someone that could be you would want to work with.
Or from the past, who would you?
From the past,
like hands down, like Eric B and Rakim, because I love Rakim. He's like the best rapper of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Him or Susie and the Banshees, like that would be my dream. That would be like the chance to do something cool and ethereal and abstract and, you know, smart. Susie. Or The Creatures, her offshoot with Budgie. Any of the like goth stuff from the 80s I would love to do. Or I don't know, like, oh God, it's like hard to think on the spot. I needed more coffee.
No, you're totally okay. I would love to.
I should have more coffee.
Yeah.
If you had something, or if you have a magic wand, and you can fix Hollywood, what will it be that will make an impact in that change for the better?
If I had a magic wand, I would say no more using glorifying gun violence. No more glorifying gun violence.
For the future generations.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And I would say stories had to be somewhat intelligent. There could be escapism, sure. There's room for escapism. Like maybe 15, 20% just pure escapism.
The original storytelling is gone.
Yeah. Bring back original storytelling, have people work on the story, make it a craft, make it art again, make films art again, and let there be nuanced stories about humanity that can affect, uplift, inspire, touch people, even disturb them a little bit, but in the name of humanity.
Yeah.
Hollywood is kind of a hypocrite because they talk about violence, you know, and then they go back, you know, even like producers and actresses and actors and so on and so forth. They complain about violence happening and so on and so forth. And then they go back and then their movies, all violence and all glorified, you know, either sexual or it's gun violence or criminality, right? Gang culture, you know, all that stuff. It's all about crime and
every single time there's another mass shooting and I see any movie poster that has a gun in it, I feel sick. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, stop with that shit.
And they're talking about stopping it, but then they're going against.
Well, I definitely tell us more about the Tubi pickup for the web series, right?
My friend Ramon has a friend, and he said, "Do you know anyone with content?" My friend has a distribution company. They're looking for content, so showed her my series, which I had 5 episodes, self-funded. I did some crowdfunding, shot it in New York. Dark comedy about therapy and self-love and loneliness in New York.
Therapy.
Yeah. It's the whole, you know, common issues I deal with, you know, like coming out of depression, finding self-love is like Anyway, so she liked it and she sent it to the streamers and finally got an email like a month ago. Great news, Tubi's picking it up. Oh, wow. So it's supposed to be on. It was supposed to be on September 1st, but it's not. So I don't know what's happening with that. But
we'll check it out.
We'll find out soon.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to.
Tubi is actually one of the biggest ones now.
Yes, I love Tubi.
Yeah, they're very.
It's free. They have some good, funny content on there that's like definitely would fit what I really want to watch that. So
there's a lot of independent stuff.
Yes, for sure. Which Tubi's great. So I definitely want to.
It's called the So You Don't Know.
Okay.
So You Don't Know.
Watch it on
So
Tubi.
You Don't Know. Yeah. Watch it on
Tubi is when I first got introduced to Tubi. You know, I was like, you know, what is this?
Yeah, when it was just starting.
And there's Blockbuster. I think they're starting to make their own.
They've been making their own content.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a mutual professor from when I was in school, and her friend works for Tubi's social media marketing team, and the way they do things is so interesting. Like it's like them. Like they have their own brand, Tubi. Their streaming service separates from every single one of them, like Netflix or Hulu. Like they just have their own. Also, because it's free and it
has commercials in it, right?
Yes, it does. But you see like the funny films they have. It's just they have a very niche platform. So yeah, I would definitely check them out.
Yeah, they have like different genres, and there's you see like the old cult movies.
Yeah,
a lot of
they have a lot of older ones too. There, yeah.
Some movies that you will never find anywhere else.
Yeah,
you'll find it, and sometimes I'll watch it like from the 80s, and I'm like, And then my wife will look at it and like, what the hell are you watching?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you know what? I watched this when I was a kid. You know,
and they have it on Tubi. It's like,
they have it on there. Because I think Netflix basically picks up a lot of what they think it's hip and it's up and going, so that there's viewers.
Netflix doesn't take enough risks, I feel like.
Netflix is becoming
It's
just like Hollywood. You know,
yes,
they're very.
they are.
Yeah.
They've been around for too long.
Yeah. Well, now their budgets are 20.
Well,
30
now
million
they're like
dollars
the
a movie,
least
so-
popular streaming service. I feel like now it's Peacock and Hulu.
Wow.
So, but yeah, where can we find you on Instagram? And
Instagram at Marlene Rhein. So it's MarleneRhein. Also, the film, which is Who is Joy Sriracha film. Sriracha is spelled Seracha. Not like the hot sauce.
oh, I forgot.
I was gonna say.
Not like the hot
That's
sauce.
kind of funny though. That maybe she could do a collab with
Sriracha. Yeah. That's
Well,
a
they
good idea.
recently came back again, so because they.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Sriracha, they had issues with their.
Oh yeah, the hot sauce.
Yeah, and they had issues with their peppers
Oh, wow.
because they used to be grown here.
Oh
and
yeah.
they had issues with the distribution and stuff, and they
Oh,
had this
gosh.
argument. They cut the supply.
Wow.
That's why sriracha
Yeah.
disappeared for a
Wow.
while and then came back
Oh, wow.
again. I love that sauce.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people come to an age, right? They think, oh, this is it. Either you quit or you don't, or you make more things, right? And as far as where you are now and where you see yourself going. And how is that not only encouraging you and how you can encourage other people?
What keeps you inspired? Yeah.
So ideally, I see things going where I make this movie, Who is Joy Sriracha, and then I make the next movie, which is based on that series, The So You Don't Know. And then I make my big passion project, When the Bass Drops, which is the dance movie, which is like a love letter to old school hip hop and house. And that would be amazing, and I'd be happy if nothing else happened after that. But hopefully I do more films.
Yeah.
But that's like ideally. What keeps me inspired is dancing, connecting with people that I love, finding people that inspire me, and trying to find art that inspires me, and really like connecting with good people and finding motivation to keep going and trying to stay positive at all costs, which kind of feels like it gets harder each day, to be honest. So I'm really working on that, trying to just do what I love, be about what I love, and give more love. That's all I can try to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And just give us one thing to inspire others. The last thing you will say to people out there that are maybe feeling hopeless,
Yeah.
right? That they're feeling
In the same position as you, working
yeah.
so hard, trying to make
especially
it.
in the industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many people today that you look at Hollywood, it's like literally dead, like even people
Let me
that
tell
are
you something.
in
It's so easy to feel hopeless because there's so much evidence out there of failure. There's so much evidence that you won't make it, and statistics. It's fuck the evidence. It's not about the outer. Life, the truth of life is good, and it's non-linear. There's the linear aspect of our humanity, which is, I don't have this, therefore I'm not going to have that. You can't think like that. You have to be willing to consult the spirit within you and know that the truth of life is good. And that Einstein, a big question he asked, is this a friendly universe? And his answer was yes. Life is friendly, life is good. And yes, there's bullshit evidence out there to say there's so much bad in the world, but you know what? There's so much good.
Yes.
And you have to be the warrior that trains your mind to look for the good despite the bad that's out there. So what? It's out there. There's good people, and don't be hopeless because there's so much to create from. You can take everything and make it the fuel for your creation. And there are people out there to connect with. So never give up, because life is good and life is for you.
Period.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marlene,
Appreciate
for coming.
Yeah, we had an amazing conversation. Thank you for joining us.
That was
and hope everything that you touch
Can't wait to
Turns
see
into gold,
what's next for you. Yes.
and sometimes if you see it, this is when you build it, it'll come, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. And we hope to see you in different different spots and different places.
Yes. I'll bring you guys on the red carpet.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, for the
So
premiere.
you know what we always say. I always say to people, don't look down on people, because the people that you look down onto could
one day be like
exactly
here.
above
Yeah.
you next time. So
Yeah.
it's always good to.
And you've already done so many amazing
respect
things, so
people.
don't ever forget
Yeah.
that you have a good portfolio already.
Yeah.
Like nothing's stopping you. I think you can do it.
Thank
No, I
you.
know you can do it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you
Of
for
course.
being
I
here.
love this
We
encouragement.
appreciate
Yes.
it, and hopefully we see you guys next time.
Yes, thanks
and
for coming.
of course, please follow her on her pages and stuff.
Yes,
You guys
please
will
do.
have it on the screens and also on the bios that we place. Thank you, and we'll see you guys next time.